Hello, welcome, welcome. So this week we have a Sikh of the Rebbe, Parshas Emor 57:51, talking about why we even have to start dealing with unwanted things, with negativity, with gullus, with being in a tight, painful state of being. To begin with, God could have created the world, just everything wonderful and good to begin with. Why didn't God just create the world? No pain, no suffering, no evil, no concealment, no cover up of godliness. We just see God to begin with. Why are we in this process of turning and transforming the darkness into light to bring the end of days where we'll be all immersed in godliness and all immersed in understanding and awareness and the highest levels of consciousness? And why have to go through all the pain and suffering to get there? Okay, so that's one of the things that I was going to deal with over here. And I'm going to start from inside. We started this talk last week. So if anybody missed it, you can go to the Beis Chana YouTube channel and search for the last week's class. And if you can't find it there, you can contact me directly through the beischanaca.com website and send me an email if you don't have my contact. If you're on Facebook and you're not on my list, you can contact me through my website, beischanaca.com, and I will fill you in on what we learned last week, because it's kind of like a whole prep. The Rebbe is really building and building and building on concepts and ideas to get us into this higher level of awareness. So in the end, everything is good. So I'm not going to review so much last week. It's going to come through while we're learning today, but I'm going to start right away, delve into the inside. And we're going to start from this Sikha Parshas Emor 57:51, the paragraph 5. So the Rebbe is talking about how while we're in exile, we have an opportunity to transform the exile into Geula, which means Gola to Geula. We bring this consciousness of godliness into the darkness. And there's 3 levels and 3 stages to this. And it's specifically through dealing with this darkness that we can actually bring the consciousness of a higher awareness into something where he wasn't revealed before. You have, for instance, on the lowest level of revelation, we teach the world, we teach ourselves, we teach our families that God created the world. God is in the world, creating the world, ruling the world. He's like the aluf, he's the officer of the world, he's in charge of the world, and he's there with us, loving us, taking care of us, and embracing us. And that's seeing the divine providence of God in the world, seeing the power of godliness to give us all the powers that we need to do our job in the world. That's the first level of consciousness, a stage of consciousness that we need to bring about, and in God's kingship, God's rulership, God's power into our consciousness and our awareness in order to transform the darkness that we're in into something more revealed. So whenever we're going through pain and suffering, God forbid, the first thing we need to remind ourselves is that God is in charge. And God has a plan, and God created the world with a plan, and he's taking care of us and will help us. And this is from down to up, we're bringing the state of consciousness in. It's a service. It's something we need to work on and consciously bring into our awareness. So the next level of, actually on that level, one more thing that Rebbe says is there's a level of da'ehu. This is the level of serving God and know God in all your ways, meaning everything we're dealing with the world as we see it and as we know it, we pay conscious attention to do things to know God within that. So when we're cooking, cleaning, eating, sleeping, everything that we're doing with the consciousness that we want to get to know God better in everything that we're doing. And it's L'Shem Shemayim, we're doing this to serve God. We're doing this with a high level of consciousness that we're not just here for survival. We're not just here for us to feel good. We're not just, my daughter, I was speaking to her on Mother's Day, and we were in the park, and I don't remember what the thing was. Oh, I asked her actually for some critique, for her feedback on something that I did. And she says, no, Ma, I don't want to have to critique you. And I said, no, listen, I didn't come to this world just to feel good about myself. It's okay, you can critique me. Just don't do it in front of your kid. So we're here to get to know God better, to understand ourselves better, elevate ourselves to higher level. And this is the context of, this is what it is to serve God, to do things for godliness, to reveal God. And in our limitations and our difficulties, whatever we did, we're here to correct ourselves. That's the first level, consciousness. The second level of consciousness, we spoke about is the level of bringing Torah, the revelations of godliness into the world through God's Torah. God's Torah is God's will and wisdom, and there's higher levels of consciousness that we can reach through Torah. And then the third level, which we mentioned, is the level of godliness that's going to be fully revealed, and it's now being revealed through the secrets of Torah, the inner dimensions of Torah, which are the hidden secrets. All these three levels are levels of consciousness that bring us to a higher level of awareness. The third level, the highest level, will be fully, completely revealed in the times of the complete Geula, the complete redemption. This highest level is the level in which we will actually be healed from all the pain and suffering of the galut, of the exile, all the hardships that we've gone through all these thousands of years of not seeing godliness revealed and had to go through a lot of difficulties. So please mute yourself, whoever came in. Welcome, welcome. It doesn't automatically mute you. If you can mute yourself, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. If not, I can mute you, but I'll give you a second to try to do it. Welcome. So the question is like this. It says like this. We have in our galut, in our exile, in our going down into a level of where, in a world where God is not revealed, we have a pasuk that tells us, Torah tells us, it says it in Yeshaya, in Isaiah, that in the times of Geula, we will thank Hashem, Otcha Hashem ki anachta. We will thank you, God, because you have been angry at me, gotten angry at me. Okay, we get Hashem, we get God angry, and then and we have difficulties and suffering in the exile, right? God destroyed the holy temple. We were exiled. The Jewish people were desecrated, decimated, and just completely, a lot of people were killed. And throughout the generations, we've been at the mercy of being in exile with all kinds of nations and under their rulership and under like many hardships. And it says though that in the future we will thank God for him getting angry at us. And the Rebbe says like this, how could this? It seems like we said before, why should we even have to go through this whole suffering to begin with? And it seems also that if to say that we'll thank you for it, but it really wasn't so good, but we still are going to be thankful for it, isn't really the true point. The true point is not that it was not good, but we'll kind of accept it and be okay with it. The point is that it says that we will actually thank God for even giving us that experience to begin with. A deeper dimension. It's not just that we'll accept, we'll understand, we'll rationalize in our mind, and we'll say, yes, okay, we understand God, it makes logical sense or something like that God, knows what he's doing. But no, we'll experientially, truly, really realize the goodness of godliness. And that's a higher level. It's not a level of just like, okay, this will make sense and we can see it was hard and bad, but really the bad is good. No, we'll actually experience it on a different level of goodness. And we'll see to begin with the wonder of it, the wonder of this process of seeing godliness in. And the Rebbe adds something very interesting over here. He says that the whole concept of why we're in galut, why we're in exile, is a wonder. It doesn't make sense at all. It's something that's beyond our rationality. It's something that's mufla. It's beyond us. Mufla, which means pella, which means wonder, is beyond our rational. So this idea that we're going to be on the level of actually embracing that wonder, and it will make sense to us. It will be healed. We'll feel okay with it. It won't be something that we'll just understand and say, okay, I'll serve God anyway. It will be something that we'll actually experience. That itself is a wonder, and that will only come about through the revelations of the highest levels of Torah that are beyond the Torah as we know now, beyond all what was taught to us in all these generations from Moses until now. That is not going to be sufficient to heal. It's going to be a deeper dimension of the Torah that will be revealed, which is the Torah of Mashiach, the Torah of the Geula, and which is revealed to us, being revealed to us now already, starting through the inner dimensions of Torah. When we learn the inner dimensions of Torah, it brings a certain amount of healing to us that we'll understand, and not just understand, appreciate all the transformation that we went through and the transformation that the world went through in the pain and the galut, in the pain and the suffering of the exile. So this healing of the times of Mashiach will not just be a rational understanding of, God is good no matter what. It will be an actual healing of an experience of feeling and experiencing the wonders of God through connecting to God on a high level of understanding of awareness, which is a level of wonders. It's beyond what we can actually understand in our logic. And it will be revealed to us through immersing ourselves in the inner dimensions of Torah called the Pnimius of Torah, which is called Hasidis. Now, Hasidis has this ability to heal, has the ability to be able to actually retroactively heal us, make us aware of all the pain and suffering as something, as a healing, a part of our healing process, meaning all what we went through was part of the process of the revelation. To get to the light, we needed to go through this darkness. We needed to go through an inner transformation of dealing with something painful in order to get to this revelation. And that's, Hasidis brings us there. Hasidis, when we immerse ourselves in teachings of Hasidis, it brings us to a whole new dimension of reality. We don't just see reality as it is, what our eyes see and our ears hear and our mouth speaks and our senses. When we're learning Hasidis, we're understanding our life and our world and our reality and our challenges and our tests and our pain and our suffering in a different dimension, because we're on a different level of awareness of seeing our experiencing our life from a level of our soul level. When we're learning Hasidis, we're learning about our soul. We're learning about many levels of our soul. We're experiencing that life is not just about what we see with our senses, and we experience life with other senses of our soul. That's what Hasidus does. It trains us to be able to understand and see and experience the world from all different levels of our neshama. Our neshama has many levels, and Eva talks about this in the Sikha. There's 10 spheros, which correspond to the 10 powers of our soul. And this is stuff that's taught to us now that we learn in Hasidus. And I'll give it to you in a nutshell, the overview. Many of you know this. The 10 spheres start with the level of Chachma. Chachma is our intellect. Bina is our more understanding. Then there's the midot, which are our emotions of love, of courage or power and strength, compassion. Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus. These are all things. This is not today's class. These are motive powers, are whatever we have to be able to acknowledge, to be able to have, to persevere, to be able to connect and bond. These are all our emotional capacities. And the final sphere is the sphere of Malchus, which is our capacity to bring things into the tangible world of thought, speech, and deed. So these are the 10 spheres. When we learn Hasidus, we learn about these 10 spheres. We learn about the powers of our soul. We tune in. The more we tune in, like we're doing now in Sphere Soma, we're tuning into more of our emotional powers. We're thinking about them. We're relating to ourselves and to the world and to other people from these emotional powers that we have. We're now in the week of Hodah. We just started today. The Chesed, the kindness in acknowledgement. So today we're focusing on God's, our ability to have kindness and compassion, kindness and acknowledgement, thanking, gratitude together. And this has, I didn't prepare the class on this, but there's many places you could go on the internet and Google these spheres and get more of the different aspects of this. So my goal is to give an overview of what I was saying in this Sikha about how, in general, dealing with these things, with the teachings of Hasidus, elevates us to a level of seeing the world from a different perspective, seeing ourselves from a different perspective. And when we engage with life, we're engaging from a different level completely. So when somebody gets, my example would be for me, gets worried, or somebody gets upset, or gets jealous, or gets fearful, or get whatever it is that a person's in it, we have the tools from Torah to be able to elevate them to a higher level, bringing God into the situation. So through learning about our soul, we're able to bring our soul into a situation and see we're not here experiencing this just from a level of like, oh no, I'm going to lose this money. Oh no, I'm going to lose this, or I'm going to, I'm not going to get honored over here. We see things from a level of honor is wonderful when it's a true honor. It's a deeper dimension of honor. Money is good if we have a good relationship with money and we're using it and able to use it for good things. The more we raise our level of consciousness, the more we're able to deal with our emotions in a healthier, happier, more holy way. So this Hasidus is the antidote to bringing the Geula in its completion, because it's learning to see godliness in everything on a deeper dimension. So that's the goal. That's why the Rebbe says, in order to bring Geula, it's not just like Mashiach is going to come, swoop us off our feet, take us, and everything is going to be perfect in one day. Geula is a process. It's an inner process, the Rebbe says, where we're dealing with all these levels within us, starting from our mind, through our hearts, to our thought, speech, and deed. And this is all taught in Hasidus. And the more we learn it, the more we're bringing Geula, which is redemption to ourselves, and we're bringing redemption to the world. So let's see it inside, because this is unbelievable. A lot of the stuff that they're saying over here. He says, when we see Hashem from this perspective, we will be able to come to a place where Od Hashem will be able to thank God, that you have had anger upon me. All the pain and suffering, we'll see the inner dimension of it as the transformational part of it. What's going to be real to us and important to us is that the transformation of the darkness to light. That will be more of our reality than, let's say, the loss of the money or the loss of the honor or the loss of whatever it is, or what we thought was really, really important. And we will be able to see our experience of connecting to God is the most important thing, but it won't be just an intellectual pursuit of, yeah, I believe. No, it will be a real experience of coming close to Hashem through the process of all the challenges that we're going through. The more we do this, the more we're bringing Geula, the more we're bringing godliness revealed into this world, into ourselves and into the world. That's the process of bringing Geula. So the Rebbe kind of changes our perspective of what it means to bring Geula. It's an interchange that affects us and affects the world, and he's going to say it more inside. He says we're affecting ourselves on many dimensions. When we affect ourselves, we affect our 10 powers of our soul. Then we can affect also our animal soul, which is our coarse part of our body, which has this innate drives which God gave us. Then we can affect the world. He says this at the end of the Sikha. And then we bring consciousness of godliness into the world completely. So let's go inside. I'm going to skip a little bit. He talks about the times of King David and Shlomo Melech, King Solomon, and how they brought consciousness of godliness. God's rulership was brought in the times of King David. God's wisdom was more revealed in times of King Solomon, King Shlomo, but they didn't merit that the Geula should come in their lifetime. One of the things which the Rebbe doesn't mention was that King Solomon married the Queen of Sheba when he wasn't supposed to. He did a few things that made him not merit to be the Mashiach of his time. Anyway, the complete revelations did not happen then. But in the times of Mashiach, in our times, which the Rebbe says is our time, then we will have that. And we'll have the complete Geula. We'll be on this level of more revelations of both of King David and the revelations of the times of King Solomon. God's wisdom will be revealed in the world in a complete form, and an even higher level, because we'll have the inner dimensions of Torah, which weren't taught in the times of King Solomon, Shlomo Melech. Now, so I'm going to go to paragraph 7 in this Machos 57-51. The Rebbe says, in order for each and every Jew to have this power, this koyach, this energy, to be able to receive the revelations of Mashiach, first he has to have a little bit of the levels that we explained before, that each and every Jew can reach, because we all have a spark of the Mashiach within us. There is a paragraph, there's a prayer that we say in the synagogues every holiday when we take out the Sefer Torah. We ask God to reveal himself to us in the way that he will reveal himself through the King Mashiach. It says that when Mashiach comes, he'll have a spirit of godliness come upon him, and it gives all the descriptions of what kind of a spirit it will be. And when we're praying And the holidays, when the Torah is brought out, like it will happen in Shavuos, the holiday of Shavuot, when they take out the Sefer Torah, there's a special prayer asking God to bring this revelation of Mashiach into us, Banu. So the Rebbe says, if we wouldn't be praying for it to come into us, if we didn't have a spark of Mashiach within us, that we can, all these levels of revelation that the Mashiach will have, we can have within us now. And which is the levels of kingship, the level of fixing our midot, our emotions, our mind, which are connected to, to our emotions, and then mochin, our mind as it is on its highest pristine level, even beyond what it's connected to our emotions. It's mochin, it's our intellect as it is on the highest levels. We can bring a spirit of godliness into all these levels through learning Hasidis. Now, Yesh Lomar, Rebbe says one more thing. It says also that Hashem, in the Pirkei Avot, what's it called, Ethics of Our Fathers. It's a Mishnah that everybody could learn, and we learn it during the summer months. And it says over there, who is wise, who is courageous, who is rich, and who is honorable. Now, the explanation that the Mishnah gives over there says, who's a wise man? Somebody who can foresee what's going to happen. Who is courageous? Somebody who controls, is able to overcome and his evil inclination. Who is rich? One who is happy in his portion. And who is honorable? One who is being honored by others. Who honors others. So not exactly the opposite. Not one who's being honored, but one who gives honor to others. So these four levels, the Rebbe says, correspond to the 10 powers of the soul that we just spoke about. Chachma, intellect, is the highest level. That corresponds to who is wise. The emotions correspond to Bina, the power of understanding, which takes a little bit more discernment, has to do with courage, to be able to differentiate and discernment of the mind. That corresponds to who is courageous or who is strong, who has that discernment, that power to protect. Who is rich corresponds to our emotions, dealing with our emotions. You can become rich because you overcome your inner drives and desires and temptations, and desires to go with the animal soul the way it is, but to overcome them, to overpower them with our ability to connect godliness into our emotions. And then the fourth level is who is mechubad, who is honorable. That's the level of malchus. Malchus is kingship. Malchus is is honor. Malchus is having this level of divinity as we are in the thought, speech, and deed. But malchus also means godliness as he is revealed as a king in the world, in thought, speech, and deed, how he rules the world. It says a king rules with his speech. So our ability to speak is what gives us honor, able to honor people with our thought, speech, and deed. This is an action. So this is the fourth level that we can refine. This is something that Rebbe just brings here as a nice additional thing. It's not the main body of the Sikha, but it's a beautiful thing. As Rebbe is saying, these are all levels that when we learn the teachings of Hasidus, we can go in a way of bringing all these understandings in a way of miflot, of wonder, of inner dimensions of Torah that are beyond what we've been taught until now. Hasidus brings us to an inner dimension of these levels of seeing this, how we're bringing godliness onto all these levels. We can do these. I mean, the Mishnah doesn't tell us exactly how to do it. It just tells us who's honorable, who's wealthy, who's wise. Hasidus teaches us really how to do it, because it gets us attuned with all those powers of our soul within us, and how to bring godly awareness into all these levels. So this, the Rebbe says, is what's actually going to bring the revelation of godliness into the world. When we think about these things and we learn about these things in a way that we affect our life with it, that brings the honor and glory of God in its fullest into this world, which is what we do to bring the Geula, bring Mashiach. Let's go on. The Rebbe talks about Lag BaOmer in the Sikha, so that's very appropriate, right? Because we're Wednesday night. Thursday is the 33rd of the Omer, Lag BaOmer, which is the Hilul of the day of the passing, descent of the soul of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai to the highest, out of this world, higher, and it's his Hilula today. where we're told the Rebbe used to give blessings to people that he would not give throughout the year. It was an auspicious day. People knew if they needed especially blessing for children, this was a good day to get a blessing for children. It's a day where there's revelations of higher revelations, of miraculous revelations that we can tune into. So it's a very auspicious day to honor and to tune into, Wednesday night through till Thursday night this week. So let's go on. What's this thing about Reb Shimon Bar Yochai? What's special about Reb Shimon Bar Yochai? We know he wrote the Zohar. The Zohar was written. The Zohar is Kabbalah. Zohar is inner dimensions of Torah, the secrets of Torah, and he connected that with the revealed parts of Torah. The revealed parts of Torah are like Chumash, the Beishis, Shmos, Vayikra, the 5 books of Moses. He wrote the Kabbalah based on the 5 books of Moses, the Torah itself. So he connected the Torah, the psukim of the Torah, with the inner dimension, which is the Kabbalah. So he brought a certain revelation of godliness into learning of Torah that was not there before. So it's a pretty big deal, put it that way. So the Rebbe says, now, taking this ability to reveal godliness, which Goddessy is beyond the world, Goddessy is revealed in the deeper dimensions of Torah, that's from a level of godliness which is beyond the revealed parts of Torah. So it's more hidden, it's godliness that's beyond the world. He was able to bring it into the world in a few ways. First of all, through bringing it into the level of dimension of Torah that we've been taught. And also he's able to bring these higher levels of revelations into the world itself. It says that Shimon Bar Yochai said, and it's quoted in the Gemara, in his name, that he revealed the concept that when Jews went out into exile, God went with them. Meaning, I guess it wasn't so clear till then. People maybe until Shimon Bar Yochai's time understood that if when they went into exile, God maybe abandoned them, God forbid. And Shimon Bar Yochai brought this concept. No, when Jews went out into exile, God went with them. The Shekhinah goes with them. There's godliness together with them in this exile, or whatever exile they were in. So that's one thing. Another thing the Rebbe said is that it also says in the Gemara that Reb Shimon Bar Yochai said, I can redeem, liftor, I can like counter all the world from din, from judgment. Meaning he would be able to, he said he had the power to say, we're not, our generation that he was in is the whole world, not just Jewish people, the whole world doesn't deserve to be judged right now harshly, but to be judged kindly. So the Rebbe says he had the power to even judge and make a din, make like a judgment that the world doesn't deserve to be in galut, doesn't deserve to be in exile, which is an interesting concept that he would say about himself. I can judge and I can rule that we do not need to be in exile. The whole world should not be judged harshly. So we know there's this concept that a righteous person could make a judgment and make a judgment, so to speak, on God, that God has to judge us favorably. God gave power to us to be able to kind of change his judgment. And Shimon Bar Yochai said, I'm one of those people who did that. And it's very interesting because this concept was brought down also. Our Rebbe said that we can tell God also to judge us, to take us out of this exile. Galut. In 57-52, he asked different rabbis to make a judgment and to actually make a psak din, make a ruling, a halachic ruling, that Hashem has to bring the Geula Shlema, has to bring the complete and true redemption. And it's something that the Rebbe spoke about it with the Rabbi Rashi of the time, the head chief rabbi of Israel, both the Ashkenazi head chief rabbi and the Sephardi chief rabbi, and they discussed it with them at length when they came to visit him in his library in 770 and 57, I believe it was 57-52, either 57-51 or 52. And the Rebbe corresponded with other rabbis, both verbally and I think even corresponded even in writing. I'm pretty sure. For sure, I know verbally many times the Rebbe brought up that the rabbis should make a psak din, they should make a halachic ruling that Mashiach should come. I just heard a beautiful story on Shabbos. Rabbi Feldman, who's the grandson of Rabbi Chaim Gutnick, Alav Shalom. Rabbi Chaim Gutnick was a shliach in Australia, and the Rebbe loved him very much and called him like the Kohen Gadol, the chief Kohen. So this Rabbi Gutnick once came to the Rebbe right after and this I heard from his grandson, so it's a pretty first-hand account. In 1967, I believe it was, shortly after the Six-Day War, Rabbi Gutnick came to the Rebbe and asked the Rebbe, maybe this is it. Maybe now we're at the time of the beginning of the Geula. And the Rebbe said to him, well, do you see that there is anybody who is able to be the Mashiach now? And Rabbi Gutnick froze. He didn't know what to say. Maybe he knew what to say, but he couldn't say anything. He didn't have the guts to say anything. So the Rebbe said again, well, do you see anybody that's capable or able to be Mashiach now? And Rabbi Gutnick just went blank. He froze. And so the Rebbe said it a third time, well, do you see anybody that's capable of being Mashiach now? And Rabbi Gutnick didn't say anything. And he kind of was bewildered and didn't say anything. And then, so that was it. So the Rebbe said, if not, if there's nobody capable of being Mashiach now, then it's not the beginning of the Geula. So Rabbi Gutnick said to the people close to him at the time, and his grandson said that he felt terrible. He felt like he should have said to the Rebbe, you are able to be the Rebbe, to be the Mashiach. You should be the Mashiach. And we're ready. And he doesn't know why he didn't say it, why he froze. And then, so a few days later, he came to the Rebbe again, and he was allowed to go to the Rebbe whenever he wanted. The Rebbe gave him a Hasidis. This is in the 60s. And guess what? He said, Rebbe, I made a mistake. Really, I should have said that you're capable of being the Mashiach. And the Rebbe got visibly, upset. He says, there were certain times in history when Mashiach could have come at that moment, and it was an auspicious time, and it didn't happen. And so Rabbi Gutnick was very, very disappointed. Like there was a segula, there was a moment that if he would have acknowledged and said, yes, you're capable of being the Mashiach. Yes, we're ready for Mashiach. It could have happened then. So we see, a lesson that I can take from this is that we have to be constantly in that mode of being ready. Yeah, it could happen now. Not in this state of bewilderment of like, how could it happen? I'm not sure. You tell me. I need somebody else to tell me how it's going to be. No, we need to be in the state of readiness and alertness and awareness. Yes, we're ready right now. Of course, Geula Shlema can happen right now. Of course, we're in this process already of transforming ourselves in the world, and it's already overdue. It's not like it's going to happen way, way, way in the future. The process already started, and it's just a question of how much are we going to tune into this process folding in front of us, or how much we're not going to fit into this, meaning opening up our minds and our hearts and our learning about Geula Mashiach and learning these talks and becoming more on this level of this is what our life is focused, and this is the reality of our life. That will make it happen. So let's look inside. We said, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai said, right, why did I start talking about it? Because the Rebbe asked that the rabbis should actually make a psak din, and one thing that is going around now is another psak din, another halachic ruling of the rabbis is going around. And if anybody wants to know about it, if you want your rabbi to look at it and sign it too, there's another psak din going around for more rabbis to sign. And many, many rabbis have signed it already. And it's again another ruling 30 years after the initial ruling that the Rebbe asked for. It's an update that we need the Geula Shlema, we need the revelation of Hashem full glory in the entire world now, and it's an psak din. It's been written and been signed, so it should happen immediately. So let's look inside here some more. And what time is it? I want to leave some time for questions. Okay, I went over time. Okay, I want to bring one little quick thing over here, which I mentioned before, but I didn't say it from inside. Before that, even more. the Rebbe says, from the Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, he opened up a channel of being able to bring the inner dimensions of Torah to us. He opened the channel, and then the Arizal after that opened up another channel. And the Arizal said, not only can he learn it and his students, but the whole world needs to learn it. It's a mitzvah to teach it to everybody in the world. You don't have to be a certain age or a certain observance level. Everybody needs to learn these secrets, these wonders of Torah to prepare the world for the Geula. And then later on, it was revealed even more in a way that people could more understand more tangibly into the reality of their life through the Baal Shem Tov, which founded the Hasidis in general, and then it was revealed that it was even more through the Alter Rebbe, who founded the Hasidis of Chabad, and also there are many Rebbes, but the Rebbe is focusing more on the leaders of Chabad until his leadership, until the previous Rebbe and the Rebbe, who also taught us how to bring all these wondrous things of the teachings of the inner dimensions of Torah into our own personal soul levels, and not just to our soul levels, like we talked about for the 10 powers of our soul, but also to our animal soul, which is our animalistic drives and tendencies that we were created with to refine them. And then when we bring these ideas and concepts into our reality, our emotions, refine our negative feelings, and we're able to deal with the world in a more healthy way, bringing God consciousness through Hasidus into our personal lives, then we can reveal it to the world also, and reveal the inner dimensions, the taste of the inner dimensions of Torah, which will be completely revealed with the true and complete redemption. But that's the process of it happening now, is from Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, through the Arizal, through the Baal Shem Tov, through the Alter Rebbe, through all the Chabad Rebbes, through our Rebbe to us. These teachings are what's going to change us, refine us, transform us, change us. We have this ability to be changed through it, and thereby change the world. One thing that the Rebbe also adds over here, which was not taught before, the Alter Rebbe in Tanya writes that not everybody can be on a level of a tzaddik. Not everybody can actually transcend themselves, transform themselves, change their drives to something more holy. And the Rebbe over here says in this sikha, no, because we're already many generations of going through all this inner work, we're in a generation that we actually can make a significant change in our constitution. We can actually have inner transformation and change ourselves. It's not like in the olden times where people, only if you were on a very high level, you could receive understanding of consciousness. Now we're in a time where we can all do inner work, and we can all reach higher levels of awareness and consciousness if we learn Hasidus and we tune into it and we apply it to our daily life, which is something completely new. It's no other tzaddik, I don't think, ever said this throughout the millennia of all the generations. This is something the Rebbe told us. We're now, because we're at the end of all these many generations of teachers and teachings, we can actually transform ourselves. And this is what he says here in the Sikha. I won't read it from inside because I'm already beyond my time, but he says it here. If you want, I'll go through this some more later, or you can call me or you can contact me. But this is what it says here, that we have the ability of inner transformation, changing ourselves to be a level of a tzaddik. And that's why it says also all our nation will be tzaddikim. We can actually bring about true transformation. It's not just nice concepts that we can, think about. It's really applied to our life and change ourselves, change the world. So does anybody have any questions? I see, hi, I'm live on Facebook. I see there's a few people watching here there. If you want, I'll wave to you. Wave. Hi. Oh, there's much more. Okay, welcome. Okay, I guess if you're on Facebook, you can't really actually ask me questions. I'm so sorry. You could always contact me, basechanasiya.com. Send me an email through there, and I can put you on my WhatsApp invitation so that you can join our Zoom every Sunday morning. We have this Zoom from 11 to 11:45 approximately, Pacific Standard Time. And you're welcome to join us on our Zoom. We learn the Rebbe's unbelievable talks. You should have a happy Lag BaOmer, an amazing Lag BaOmer with the true revelations of Geula within our life. So thank you all on Zoom for joining. Thank you on Facebook for joining. I guess if anybody wants to mute yourself, you could. I see your comments. Thank you for your lovely comments, for the positive feedback. Thank you so much. And we'll meet together in the Beis Hamikdash very, very soon. Thank you all for joining. So nice to see you. Thank you, Isigila, Silvana. Thank you. Wait, I can't see so well. I can't see all your names. Welcome, welcome. It's so good to see you. Thank you for joining. Be well. Take care.